Thank you. Welcome to the ordinary council meeting of Muswell Shire Council being held in the meeting room, level 1, TEC building, Hill Street, Muswellbrook on Tuesday, 26th May 2026. I declare the meeting open at 5:01. Please note the meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be made available on council's website. We have no applications to attend via audio visual link. The acknowledgement of country will be read by Councillor Hartley.
Thank you. Council would like to respectively acknowledge the local Aboriginal people who are the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which this meeting takes place.
Thanks, Councillor. The Civic Prayer, Councillor Neil.
Almighty God, from whom comes every good and perfect gift, we give you thanks for the blessings you bestow upon us in this Shire. Grant to those who hold office in this council the spirit of justice and truth, of wisdom and charity, that mindful of our responsibility and the needs of those we serve, we may promote the true welfare of your people, exercise wisely and faithfully the authority committed to us, and advance the common good throughout Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. Please. So we have 3 applications for absence of leave. Tonight is from Councillor Barry, Councillor Dunn, and Councillor Lakemark and Councillor Bailey. Have I someone want to move that way? Councillor Morris, Councillor McNeil, all those in favour? None against. Carried. Thank you. The confirmation of the minutes. Recommendation of business payment is the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on 28 April 2026, copy of which has been distributed to all councillors, be taken as read and confirmed as a true record. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Marshall, seconded. Councillor Scholes, all those in favour? Thank you, councillors, unanimous. We're going to our disclosure of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interest, starting on the left. Councillor Douglas.
9.3.1, amendments to Mac Energy Road closure and work deed, page 209. I have a significant non-pecuniary due to my son's business having a contract with Mac Energy.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Morris, Councillor Neil.
No.
Councillor Marshall.
I have one, but I haven't got it all. You'll have to come back.
Okay. Right. Councillor Marshall.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have one. Item 9.1.1, item withdraw DA 2049 Childcare Center 30 Maitland Street, Muswellbrook. This DA related to the properties owned by me and my wife.
Thank you, Councillor Hartley. Councillor Hartley.
Yes, thank you. Just the one, 9.3.1, amendments to the Mac Energy Road closure and works deed. Pecuniary interest, I work for a contractor on the Mac Energy Mount Pleasant side.
Thank you. Councillor Scholes.
Mr. Wynne, I have none, but I'd just like to acknowledge Councillor Davis wasn't able to stand because she has the full leave.
But there you go. Thank you, Councillor. She had an injury. Councillor Ward. No. Back to you, Councillor.
Wallen Valley Way, 16.1. 2025-2026-0700. Wallen Valley Way, Grabby, safety improvement. And that's non-primary, non-significant. My daughter works for the company.
Thanks.
One.
Sorry. Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Moving to item 7, we have a mayoral minute this week. I won't read the entire mayoral minute to be provided in the business papers. The minute arises from some discussions that, well, the council we've all had more recently about the growth in Denver. So we all know at the moment there's proposed about 600 residential blocks proposed in Devon. We understand upwards of 200 of those have already been sold. The process of certainly being planned. That will double 600 residential blocks in Devon, effectively doubles the size of that town. Because when you double the size of the town, you double the size of the service you need to be able to service those people. We have always recognised that this council certainly has that Denver would be a fairly attractive place for people to move and live. That needs to be the case. For that reason, I would like to establish a community reference group made up of councillors, staff and community members from Devon. You'll read as you go through it that there's a direction given to, I'll read the recommendation. First of all, before I read it, I need someone to move that. Councillor Douglas, Councillor Hartley. I'll read the recommendation. The recommendation is that Muswellbrook Shire Council endorses this mayoral minute and in doing so authorises the General Manager to call for expressions of interest for community representatives to the Denman Planning and Development Committee, with appointments to be determined at the June ordinary meeting of council. I have a mover and a seconder. Any comment in regards? Councillor Scholes.
Yeah, I'm just going back. I've no issue with the recommendation, but within the mayoral minute, you're stipulating with regards to council nominate people on the thing, which is two councillors and yourself. My concerns from a personal kind of nature in that I can understand we have two particular Devon-based councillors on council, and I'm sure they would like to be on the thing. But I have a concern that it would be good to have another set of eyes from council laws besides yourself with regards to oversighting, so that we actually, it is a shire issue at the end of the day, not just purely a Devon issue.
Thanks, Councillor Scholes, including the mayoral minute. I'm happy when it comes back to the June meeting for councillors to decide who they want, how many they want on it. Certainly I have no attraction to 2, 3, 4 councillors or whoever it might be. It was purely just an example, but certainly, as I say, I'm happy for councillors to decide who they think, how many, and who they think are the best representatives for that. Mover and second, any further comment? Okay, I'll put that. All those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Ordered unanimously. Business arising. Now we have been a correction made in the minutes to the ordinary council meeting for 24 March, item 934, the future fund and staff housing. So the item, in fact, was deferred at that meeting, so the minutes have been updated to reflect that. So the resolution should read that the deferred on the motion of Councillor Morris and Councillor Dunn, rather than resolved on the motion of Councillor Morris and Councillor Dunn. Have I a mover for that to accept them in that manner, Councillor Morris and Councillor Scholes? Any discussion? I'll put them in for that change and the minutes to be adopted. Thank you. All unanimous. You get the mover in the second. All right, we'll move straight into business. Item 911. We have a councillor with that.
I don't think that's the group.
He probably doesn't need to, but it certainly better to err on the side of caution. That item's been withdrawn, as you can see. There's not much explanation. The item's been withdrawn from the time this was published in the business paper. In fact, it might be the very same day. There was some more information brought forward by the proponent, which it needs to be used in the assessment in the report for council. So it's we want to make sure, as I say, we get that right, so that information will be included, and that report will go to the June meeting, not the May meeting. So we don't need to vote on that, but certainly for transparency, the item stays there while we discuss that. So, Councillor Hargin can go again. Okay, 912, small sites electricity contract. So the recommendation in the business paper is that council authorises the general manager to accept or decline the recommended tender for the Piers 3 extension program led by SSS ROC on council's behalf for council's small sites electricity contract for 1 January 27 to 31 December 2030, noting that joining Piers 3 extension program requires a commitment to roll large market sites into Piers 4 at the end of Piers 3 extension, and 2, authorises the general manager to negotiate, agree and enter a contract for the supply of electricity to small sites on council's behalf. Have I moved for that? Councillor McNeil, the seconder. Councillor Marshall, Councillor McNeil. Councillor Marshall. Any discussion? Councillor Morris.
Ignorance. Can I just get a definition of what a small site is? And I thought some of the, if I follow up deeply, I thought some of them were already solar powered or certainly assisted with solar power.
Thanks. Yeah, it probably has to explain our large sites, so our large sites are like our cycle treatment works, our muscle treatment works, like marketplace shopping centre, into small sites of those, standalone, little buildings like, pump stations, sports facilities. A lot of our sports facilities do have, solar. Indoor sports centre, for example, has solar. It doesn't use it still has to have a network charge, but it doesn't use much electricity. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
It is based on the electricity usage, generally speaking, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr.
Small site, small charge, Any further discussion? I'll put that, we'll move in a second. All those in favour? None against, declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. 913, so it's their monthly report, the Planning Environment and Regulatory Services. The recommendation of the business paper is that the information contained be noted. Have I a mover for that? Councillor Ward, Councillor Scholes, any discussion? Any questions? That being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against, declare that now. Thank you. We're moving to corporate services. Corporate services 9.2. So 9.2.1 is the draft code of meeting practice for adoption. So the recommendation in the business paper is that council adopts the amended code of meeting practice provided as an attachment to the report. Have I a mover for that? Councillor Morris, Councillor Marshall, Councillor Morris?
No.
Councillor Marshall?
No, thank you.
Any discussion? Any questions? Put that, all those in favour? Declare that unanimous and carried for the councillors. 922, councillor remuneration. I'm always a bit confused by councillor remuneration and why it wouldn't be that every councillor would declare their remuneration interest. We're talking about remuneration, but anyway, that's the rules, I guess. The recommendation of the business paper is that council notes the local government remuneration tribunal's 2026 annual determination and one, approves the maximum annual fee of $24,080 for councillors for 2026, 2027, and two, approves the maximum additional fee of $52,560 for the position of mayor for 2026, 2027, and three, the 2026, 2027 mayor and councillor fees will also include an additional 12% superannuation fee. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Scholes, Councillor Morris, any discussion from councillors? It is it's nothing above the recommended rise.
And it is necessary.
It's recommended rise. So no discussion. I'll put that on the mover in a second. All those in favour? None against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 923 is the half-day public holiday. So the recommendation in front of you is that council makes an application to the Minister for Industrial Relations for the declaration of a half-day public holiday for the Big Dance and Mares Cup race day from 12 noon till 6 o'clock on Tuesday, 3 November. So obviously we talk about half day, but we talk about half day is from 12 noon till 6 o'clock. So it's in fact 6 hours. I want to move in a seconder for that. Councillor Marshall and a seconder, Councillor McNeil. Any discussion? Any questions? All those in favour? None against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Half day holidays back on Melbourne Cup Day. Again. 924. Review of the administration building opening hours. The recommendation in the business paper is that council approves the continuation of the changed opening hours for council's administration building on Thursdays from 8:30 till 9:30 for a further period of 6 months to 24 November 2026. So I council want to move that way. Councillor Marshall, a seconder. Councillor Hartley, any questions?
Just like to make a comment that I've never actually noticed it's been shut.
So they had their meeting once a week, obviously when you're admin and once you open the doors, people will come through and they don't stop coming through. So give them a time like all the other departments at council, at least gives them a time to catch up a little bit on that stuff. I have a mover and a seconder. No further discussion. All those in favour? None against? Declare that carried. Thank you. 925. The March quarterly budget review. A recommendation to the business papers that council endorses the proposed changes identified in the March 2026 quarterly budget review. Have I moved for that? Councillor Scholes and Councillor Morris. Any questions, Councillor Scholes?
No.
Councillor Morris?
No.
Any questions in regards to that budget review? That being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Thank you, councillors. Report on investments as held at 30 April 2026. A recommendation is for noting that council notes council's investments as at 30 April 2026. So I mover. Over mover, Councillor Morris, and a seconder, Councillor Mahajan, was quicker than Councillor Scholes. Any questions about that item in the business paper?
No.
Okay, that being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Thank you. 9.3. So infrastructure of property 931.
Just put your hands over your ears, Steph.
That's fine.
The 931 is the amendments to the Mac Energy road closure, the Mac Energy road closure and works deed. The recommendation in front of you is that council delegates to the general manager authority to sign the deed of variation which documents the amendments to the road closure and works deed, generally as outlined in the report and shown in the attached deed of variation relating to the following matters. 1, the timing of the Wyville Road culvert upgrade works, and 2, the dedication of the Northern Link Road as a council public road. Have I a mover? Councillor Marshall, the seconder. Councillor Scholes, any discussion?
Maybe the Minister of whatever is the Minister of, could tell me where the actual culvert is. Is it in the big deep one that's got to be repaired?
Thanks, Linda.
Through the Mayor, thanks to Councillor Marshall. I can confirm that the culvert requiring upgrading is on the western side of Rosebrook Bridge. So you come down the hill from the west and you start to come across the flat. It's not very obvious from the road as such. It is quite a large structure, which has been strengthened by Mac Energy.
Yes, sir, substation.
Downhill.
There is a group home which is
Thank you. Any further questions? That being the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Declare that announced and carried. We'll retrieve our 2 councillors. That is a road naming proposal, Castle Rock Road realignment. So the recommendation in the business paper reads that council approves the commencement of the road naming proposal for the realigned portion of Castle Rock Road and Dorset Road to rename the first 2.5 kilometres of Dorset Road as Castle Rock Road, as outlined in the report, and that staff take the following steps to 1, publicly notify the naming proposal for community input in accordance with the Roads Regulation 2018 by A, advertising in the local papers and on council's website, B, consulting with affected residents, businesses and ratepayers. 2, should no objections be received, authorise the general manager to proceed with registration with the Geographical Names Board on the change of road names as outlined in the report. And 3, should any objections be raised, during the notification period, a further report be submitted to council at the conclusion of the advertising and notification period. Someone want to move that way for that Castle Rock Road? Councillor Ward. Seconder, Councillor Marshall. Any discussion about Castle Rock Road? Councillor Scholes.
Yeah. Just with regards to the numbering. So the 5 residents that are impacted with regards to numbering, they've been already consulted and they've got no objection to the change. I'm sure Matt won't put a worried about the other 4. So
This is the trigger, Councillor Scholes, for that to happen.
Yeah, okay. So they have
haven't explained to at this stage.
Okay.
Now, we need to decide what we do with the road first before we decide what we do with
Fair
them.
enough. I just was frightened that we had it.
It's the road, as I understand, the road had changed even with the numbers on the name of the road.
I know the 5 because of the numbers are based on how distant you are from the road intersection.
Yeah.
And reading the report, there's 5 that are actually impacted.
Yep, that will happen. And I'm confident, Councillor Scholes, that we will get some feedback from residents.
Let's say so.
We have a mover and a seconder. Any further discussion? All those in favour? None against? Declare that unanimously carried. Thank you. Future fund and staff, so 933, sorry. Future fund and staff housing. The recommendation is that council amends the future fund schedule to include staff housing effective for this financial year 2025-2026. Have I a mover? Councillor Morris and Councillor Scholes. Have I any questions? Councillor Scholes, no questions?
No, I think it's explained in the report.
Any questions from any councillors? Discussion? I'll put that in. All those in favour? Have none against? Very thank you, councillors. Bulky waste services modernisation options. We're going to go through this clearly. The recommendation in the business paper is that Council 1 approves proceeding with the bulky waste modernisation options provided in the report, and 2 requests communication to be held with the community regarding proposed changes to the bulky waste services. Have I a mover for that? Councillor Douglas, I'll have to take, and Councillor Marshall. Councillor Douglas, you speak. Yeah, I've already given you input if you're not
Thank
listening.
you. Yes, thank you for coming up with the concepts as per what we previously asked. And if I almost approve the fact that the community needs to be part of this consultation with proposed changes, and ask that, again, when these come into play, that the consideration for the fines and due diligence on anyone not following this process be put in place.
Councillor Douglas, Councillor Marshall, to speak. Any Councillor Scholes?
Yes. I have flagged this with council officers already. It's only, I don't have, this shouldn't be having a big problem with motion, but in the executive summary, there's 3 options, but they're not actually listed as options. First one and the second one are listed together because there's no missing of the word or between number 1 and number 2.
It is a very important.
There's the missing of the word or, which is rather important. And my other thought, again, I don't wish to change the recommendation, but I would ask that, because we're still in the planning process, and it might prove too expensive, but the option of a skip being placed in front when they put their bulk pickup, as opposed to people putting on the curb, that it's actually placed into a skip that's dropped there and picked up. Got a feeling it might be too expensive, but I think we should still investigate the option.
Thanks very much, Councillor.
Yes,
A very good point. Actually, as you said, you have discussed this before.
Yeah.
The manager of waste operations is actually looking into an option that will reduce manual handling and eliminate the ugly aspect of material being placed on the curbside. In fact, actually providing a skip-like receptacle that's a certain dimension that consistent with what council would accept for this bulky waste.
I'm not precluding what we do. I'm just suggesting that And part of the process, we just better investigate that option.
You can, any further questions, Councillor Morris?
Thank you. The report is asking you to basically approve these options, but we still haven't got the whole picture yet. I don't believe we've got the whole picture about what it's going to cost. And it doesn't suggest that, again, my opinion should come back to council with the entire picture so that we can then make a decision as to what the best option is. This is asking us to approve two options without having the entire picture at the end of the day.
Thank you, thanks, Mr. Mayor, thanks, Mr. Morrison. The reason we haven't got that clarity is because we need to trial it to understand what the cost will actually be. So we have had some discussion with other councils, and the experience of other councils is that the take up of the bulky waste pickup service, the bulk waste pickup service, isn't as large as you might think. That's their experience, but from us, it may be different. So we thought we would need to provide some sort of a trial and see what the trends are, and then come back to council what we think the cost would be. We know that the tire and mattress must be around $20,000. The vouchers, there's an estimate of what that cost will be. I think that would be quite popular. For the bulky waste, we don't have those exact figures because we don't quite know what the take up will be. So we'd have to come back to council with that. And that's just included in the report.
No, I think that it's just that other councils do report that the voucher system, people just take it as an opportunity to take bulky waste up themselves. And their experience has been that where they originally had an estimate of percentage that is coming under that. But we do have options in how we manage this. We have these discussions with our contractor, and we also have the ability to appeal up and do the work ourselves or potentially using another contractor. So we do have options in how we can manage costs.
At the moment, our discussions with council's contractor, the unit rate is quite high. We've asked them to reconsider that and just provide an estimate from hospital, excluding their names and Hunt and Singleton. But also, as Matt said, we were also looking at providing the service in-house and see if we can do that cheap. We actually think we can do that cheap.
Yes.
So if the options for a trial, which this isn't suggesting, and nor did I read that in the report, what's the process of the trial? How long does that go for, and how disruptive will that be to the community? You think if we have a go at it, is effectively what it's saying, and then turn around and say, well, that didn't work, let's try something new again. Yeah. And again, we could research the whole picture and get a better outcome.
Thanks, Councillor. With respect to the term trial from a financial perspective, I think the message councils have given us and myself is that this is the way forward for us. And I start with you agree with that. I think this is the best option forward. The trial aspect is just in see what the take home will be and then come back to council with an estimate of costs and see what it will be long term.
It certainly previously presented to us, the figures were higher in this, if you can remember, than they were when everything was bulky. We did not offer a voucher system. Some questions from councillors was how can it possibly higher? What we do know is that many people will take the voucher system up. We just don't know. So if there's less bulky waste to pick up, how can the cost for that bulky waste be more? So so what we need to understand initially is, will 50% of the people take up the voucher system and 50 the bulky, or will it be 75, 25, whatever it might be? Because it just seems difficult to comprehend that. As I said, we're pretty confident less people will take the bulky waste option. Some will certainly take the voucher, but the prices appear to increase. Certainly quite appear to increase with us. So,
I actually agree with the core premise of where Councillor Morris is coming from, in that we're granting with something with an unknown cost. And as a councillor, I do have an issue with that. And with regards to looking at the wording, and this is where I've slightly interpreted the wording differently from others. It says approves proceeding. If we were going to enact something, I would imagine the word would not be proceeding, it would be to implement or something like that. So I've read it proceeding is a pretended process. And in number 2, it says request communication to be held with community regarding proposed changes to bulky waste. So I see both those as we're still on the path of determining what is to happen. So therefore, as I said, I agree with Councillor Morris with regards to us going down a path without knowing costs. I think this has to come back to council at some stage with regards to those.
Definitely, absolutely, council styles will come back to council for sure. But I mean, it's not the responsible thing to do to accept the price that we all raised that we thought was fairly inflated when we don't know. What if 90% of people take up the voucher option, and of course we're getting charged for 100% of people's bulky waste. So it's difficult to cost, and it's difficult to know. Apart from the advice we have from other councils, it's difficult to know. But I do want to be very clear in regards to the bulky waste. It's not a reduction in service. It's in fact an improvement in service. So it's not an increase from the amount of free disposals you have in a year, but it's your choice. So if you want 2 vouchers, if you want to be able to take 2 trailer loads of rubbish to our waste facility each year on the weekend or the days you want to take it, you'll be able to do it. If you want to book your waste in, the idea of a waste, remember the direction we give council was the idea of the waste would be a booking system. So we wouldn't see what we've just seen where the March bulky waste pickup was people putting waste on their front paths in January in that year. You only have a small window of a few days to put your waste out the front for that waste to be picked up. So there's some responsibility on the owner, the person who's disposing the waste. There'll also be some onus on council to make sure that we get there and we do it within that very time frame. But it's not a reduction in service. In fact, it's an improvement that the community have been asking for quite some time in regards to their choice. And I don't have any doubt there'll be some age, not just some elderly people, but elderly, I use an example, who haven't got the ability to load a trailer up and take their rubbish to the waste facility, who will continue to book for council to come and pick that waste facility up. And on top of that, you'll see in the report where there's a tyre and mattress. Much as it will also introduce. Councillor Marshall.
I'd just like to suggest that we keep in mind that, or staff keep in mind that we should give a bit more incentive to the actual voucher system rather than, because you see bulky waste, there's a lot of stuff on the side of the curb that could just actually go into the garbage bin.
I agree with that. Councillor Marshall, there'll be some tightening, and again, this is some direction from councils to start. There'll certainly be some tightening of regulations in regards to what is left on the curbside pickup, what is left and what isn't left, and give you a further report in some of the activities of our team recently about trying to monitor and in fact impose the regulations on people who refuse to follow the rules.
Well, thanks, Councillor Scholes and Councillor Morris. If it helps, we can bring a report back, still in negotiation with the contractor, do some scenario analysis and some sensitivity analysis around it, with some scenarios that give us a bit better indication. The contractor can let us know in their experience what they think the take-up would be, and we can dismiss it around that if that helps.
Yeah, I think that'd be better.
Are you saying defer this?
Well, council, this is the direction council wants us to aggressively, Mr. Mayor, we can progress with that. Well, there could be another point made in the council resolution that we bring the costing back to the next council meeting, or defer it as whatever you think of it.
Oh, we don't have a costing back currently.
We do. Councillors have raised that we haven't given enough clarity in that because we don't have the clarity. So we thought we'd do some sensitivity analysis about the estimates that the contractor would think the take-up would be. We could bring that back to council. So you could adopt it this evening with another resolution that would bring back an analysis of projected costs. That would be our recommendation if you're comfortable with that.
I'm keen for this to move forward. It's been going on for quite some time now, and But I'm also mindful, as councillor Scholes is as well, as the cost that potentially could be involved with it. And Mr Mayor, you also suggested something's coming back to council, but I wasn't clear on what that was.
The final decision will come back to council. Any final decision about a contract, yeah, will absolutely come back to council.
So that's not included in this though.
No, regardless of what is included, any contract that we
Still
extend,
negotiate.
yeah, will have to come back for council to approve. Has to be approved by council.
So this is where I'm confused and excuse my confusion. This suggests we're going ahead with it, yet we've still got to approve the costings to make that happen.
Well, as I understand it, I'm not, no councillor has indicated to me that they don't want to go ahead with exactly this system. The issue is how we work out the costing. Who does it, whether we do it, whether, we pay someone to do it, whether we work out how much it's going to, how much the voucher system will, people will take up on the voucher system. So I don't get any indication from any councillor that every councillor didn't want this process put in place. This is the process we want. Am I right in saying that councillors are happy with the process?
Yeah.
What we need to sort out effectively is the contract and the pricing, which is what the general manager's just explained with the contract and the pricing. And absolutely councillors can be involved in the council be reporting. What I don't want to do personally, what I wouldn't like to do now is halt the process.
No.
Yeah.
We put 2 vouchers for one.
It doesn't need to be a one.
There needs to be four.
After number 1, 2 vouchers or 2 book bulky waste.
Needs to be all.
My consideration is that when this goes out to community, we also promote the fines for breaching.
Yeah.
Please, it has to.
That's possibly
it has to
true,
be-
It's separate, certainly separate to this process.
Yeah, and strong.
So we add a point 3, which is bring a further report with additional costings back to council in June.
Two movers were councillor Douglas and councillor Marshall.
Question? I'm fine with that.
Councillor here, yes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I had the same concerns as councillor Morris. And then councillor Scholes, of course. But just another question. If the report comes back, or if the proposal comes back and is endorsed by council, and there is a substantial cost increase, how will that cost be recovered? By the waste levy?
It's covered by the charges, the domestic waste charges. It's covered by the domestic waste charges. We'd have to know those.
So they have to be increased to cover.
Yes, but council could make a decision around that as well. Council make a decision around that as well.
Just want to know how long we've been having these discussions, and we've regularly come up with and talked about these exact solutions that's been in here. Cost aside, at the end of the day, part of this is pride in community, and at the moment, we as council don't look like we had pride in community in the way that things haven't been working out with multi-waste. And therefore, and we've asked for these exact things, to be able to give the community an opportunity to choose either or is exactly what we're asking for. And I understand that it is going to be a, wait and see a little bit. I don't want to delay this any longer than we have to, but like.
And in the report back to council from start, our council will include all those options, including, as the general manager said, the possibility of us doing it ourselves. It might be true.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayor, and I think that's Councillor Morris's point. Our core point is, and we also have Councillor Douglas mentioned regarding community pride, but as councillors, we have a financial obligation over nearly over everything else with regards to the spending of the money of council, and to actually approve something without having some idea or having a little bit more locked in of the cost, I think this would be inappropriate. I agree. We keep going. We go with the amendment, with a potential amendment, but we keep going with the process. I totally agree.
We're certainly not.
And within the report, the council officers do identify that if the costs are to jump a bit with regards to change the waste levy on our rates and things like that. So, but I just think we need to formalise the process that we are going to go through that process.
Yeah, to be clear, we're not increasing the service. We're changing the service to a voucher and a pickup. It's currently all pickup.
Yeah.
Because we've had rehashed issues with that. So we're not increasing the service. We're adapting or changing the service to meet the community's needs. So it isn't an increase that council to make this a decision where it's going to cost millions of dollars. It's purely changing the service to adapt to what the community wants, which is our new role. Councillor Marshall.
Trying to answer some of Councillor Scholes' comments there. It is actually costing the community a lot of money at the present time, going around cleaning up the waste that's been left behind. And I don't think it'd be as much as what implementing this system would be.
We do certainly do spend a lot of money doing that. Even just recently, after the last bulky pickup, I think there was a councillor every other day contacted the general manager about another pile of rubbish that council can pick up for weeks and weeks.
Still have this all pennies paid that job tonight.
So, the mover and the second are happy to adopt the amendment that the report come back to the June on, come back to the June council meeting.
To bring a further report
Bring-
with additional costing back to the council in June.
And add the word or.
Yeah, so it's as moved with the word or, that's just with the word or. And with the point 3, the second are happy to adopt that. Councillors, no further questions. I'll put that. All those in favour? None against? Declare that unanimously carried. Thank you, councillors. That's the sort of discussion we need to have. Musbrook bypass access to central interchange. The recommendation in the business paper is that notes the letter of comfort sent to Transport for New South Wales dated 1 May 2026 has no objections to the 9 principles outlined in the report to be used to develop an agreement to enable further development of a project for the proposed design and construction of the route connecting the Musbrook bypass central interchange to Victoria Street via Cole Road, and 3, endorses the allocation of an amount of 200,000 in the 2025-2026 capital budget for the preparation of a review of environmental factors, utility investigations and detailed survey of the local road route using the sources of funding detailed in the financial section of the report. Am I a mover? Councillor Ward, Councillor Marshall, Councillor Ward. How much is the state going to pay? Simply put, Councillor Ward. I'd love to be able to answer that. But the answer in short is all of it. They don't know that yet, but if they're watching right now live stream, they'll just do. Councillor Marshall.
I'd like to, as part of the Main Street Committee, I know that I'm not necessarily in favour of this route, rather than the Main Street route into Brook Street. But yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Marshall. I am aware of dissatisfaction with that route. Any questions, any further questions? And I don't think, sorry, I'll comment with that.
Yeah, no, I'm conscious, going Councillor Ward thing, I do have trouble with the wording in there again, where we're committing to a proportion of something, because we are in the document committing to a proportion of money, which is totally undefined. And that concerns me, because I forget there's a lovely word in there. I've never seen it before in a formal document. It's like I forget what it is. So I've never seen it related to civil work in my life before. Something like pillow or something like that with regards to a comfort zone with regards to that we're going to pay half, or we're going to pay a proportion without defining that proportion. And I understand what Mayor, and I have great faith in your ability to go over the top and hold by the throat and get all the money, but the document actually doesn't reflect that.
Yes, let's go.
Mr. Mayor, it might, and I think, the letter that council wrote back to, Transport was called a letter of comfort.
So that's
If I may provide you with some degree of confidence that this is not a formal agreement for council to agree on anything at this stage, other than the 9 high-level principles. Principles will go together to a to form an MOU or such joint agreement, where then it will come back to council. So it's not binding you to really decide on any firm agreement at this point, other than to say we, in principle, those 9 heads of agreement may be used to inform a formal agreement. And it's just to allow council and transport to continue with the goodwill conversation about how transport can assist council with connecting the bypass to town. And because at the end of the day, I think we both want to see that connection come to fruition upon the opening to traffic of the bypass. So it will be just one step in the road to seeing what that will look like. And if I could also just add that whilst this is focusing on Cole Road, it's not eliminating Common Road to traffic. And this would be up to further discussions with council and it could be about heavy vehicles versus light vehicles. So there's more work to be done.
Any further questions? Certainly designed to put both transport and government on notice that council won't be prepared to be funding using ratepayers' money to fund the central interchange in Muswell Council. So we have a recommendation, we have a movement of seconder, no further discussion. I'll put that in, all those in favour, none against, put that down to carried. Thank you, council. Community and Economy, 941. The Hunter Energy and Resources Centre, so council note the report, so I want to move that. Move Councillor Morris, second Councillor McNeil. Any discussion? Any questions? Good news story for us. Put that, all those in favour, none against, thank you. 942, the Ridgelands Community Fund, nomination of a council representative. The recommendation in the business paper is that council appoints as Muswell Shire Council's representative on the Ridgelands Community Fund Investment Committee in accordance with clause 5 of the Ridgelands Community Fund doing poll, and 2, authorise the general manager to notify Ridgelands Community Fund Investment Committee of the appointment effective commencement date. I am aware of Councillor Bailey who wants to nominate. She has indicated that to me this afternoon. Councillor Marshall, you also want to nominate?
I can nominate Councillor Scott.
Who? Councillor Scott.
Sorry.
No, I'll defer to Councillor Bailey.
Okay. Councillor Bailey, there's no other nominations. I'm happy to nominate. Would someone want to nominate Councillor Bailey?
Oh, sorry.
Councillor Hartley seconded. Councillor Douglas, if there's no further nominations, I'll read the recommendation you have. Is that council appoints Councillor Bailey as Muswell Shire Council's representative on the Ridgelands Community Fund Investment Committee in accordance with clause 5 of the Ridgelands Community Fund doing poll, and 2, authorises the general manager to notify the Ridgelands Community Fund Investment Committee of the appointment and effective commencement date. I already have a mover and a seconder. Any discussion? All those in favour? None against. Together, unanimously carried. Thank you. 943. So awarding a sponsorship, Upper Hunter NAIDOC Committee, Upper Hunter NAIDOC Awards night 2026. Recommendation you have in front of you is that council notes the information contained in this report regarding the Upper Hunter NAIDOC Awards 2026 sponsorship proposal, and 2, approves providing sponsorship of $1,000 for supporter black sponsorship. Have I a mover? Councillor Hartley, Councillor Morris. Any questions?
I just want to note that I don't have a pecuniary interest in regards to this. When they talk about the Wanneroo Local Action Council, it's our turn every second year. This is their turn this year. So I don't have a conflict. So I just want to make that note, please.
Thank you.
That's a good.
Any further discussion? That being the case, I'll put that, all those in favour. And against, declare that unanimously carried. Thank you, councillors. 944, Muswellbrook Shire Council Together statement. Then first of all, we're going to move to a second of the council. The recommendation in the business paper is that council adopts the Together statement as the official acknowledgement of country for use at council meetings, civic events, and in council's documentation. And 2, endorses the development and implementation of a coordinated communications approach to support the consistent use of the Together statement across the council's operations. Have I a mover for that statement? Councillor Hartley, a seconder. Councillor Morris. Councillor Hartley, you wish to be heard at all?
No, that's all in the report there.
I will just on the for myself. The report, just for some background, the report, the Together statement was an issue that was born from our current, which was known as the Reconciliation Committee. It's now known as the Indigenous Committee we have in town, so we have really good numbers turned up that committee, lots of representation. Their view was that they wanted to as well, we spoke about it, they wanted to develop something that was unique to this community that in fact involved everyone in the community, that spoke about all of us working together, all of us walking together, rather than just focus just on the Indigenous community. They wanted, which of course it does, you see a few lines. And that was, the idea was that the reference group decided that they were the ones that, you know, if anyone was going to drive this, it needed to be them. It's also gone through the Youth Council. So the Youth Council was given to the Youth Council for comment as well. So it's had some fairly, stringent community consultation go with it, and that's what we come up. That's certainly what what the Aboriginal reference group come up with. We have a mover and a second. Any comments? Any questions, Councillor?
Question: is it exclusively for the acknowledgement of country, or can it be used for the welcome as well?
It will be used for both. It will be council's what? It will be the council acknowledgement or welcome at council meetings. Now we might have there may be meetings where it's appropriate for someone to do a welcome to country as well. That might be appropriate in some circumstance. For instance, if we have a flag raising ceremony, we're probably going to do something there doing a welcome to country. But in councils, for example, council committees, council meetings, this will be the welcome, and as it welcomes and involves everyone.
So acknowledgement and welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, because that says acknowledgement. That fast.
Councillor Stiles.
Yeah, it's just me and my word spelling again. First paragraph. We pay our respects to the First Nations leaders and elders past, present and emerging, who are the keepers of history, traditions, knowledge and culture. Shouldn't it be keepers of the land's histories?
No,
Because it's not all history.
that was what.
I know, I'm just wordsmithing, but it just kind of reads that you're accountable for all history, not necessarily. So
That we have.
but if you put the land, the first sentence mentions the land. Yeah.
Councillor Douglas.
Yeah, can I just say, as an Aboriginal person, we don't say we're the keepers of the lands, we're the custodians of the lands. So in this instant, I don't believe that the word keepers of the land needs to be included.
Any further questions? I think it's a really good step, and I applaud the Aboriginal reference group for the view that they've taken on this. That it's their job, and when they are Indigenous representatives, Indigenous leaders in this community, they've taken it on board to be. Their view was we need to be doing our part, and let's make a step towards that where we welcome everyone in our community.
Yeah. That just makes sense. Second paragraph.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yep. Just
Did you have something to say?
I was just going to say that this certainly isn't stopping anyone from having the personal welcome or the personal acknowledgement of the person. But this just brings it all together with what we're really trying to do. I'm not part of the committee, by the way. I have a staff member that attends it, and I actually applaud it for lots of reasons, because we've talked long and hard as Aboriginal people about showing that what we're doing together as a community. So I think this is excellent. Well done.
We're going to move that and a second that. No further comment. All those in favour? None against. Let it down for carried. Thank you, councillors. Appreciate it. 10 minutes of committee meetings. So the first one's the Muscle CBD Improvement Advisory Committee, 3 February 26. The recommendation is that council notes the minutes of the meeting of the Muscle CBD Improvement Advisory Committee held on 3 February 2026. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Marshall will, and Councillor Morris will. Pardon, any discussion?
Thank you.
No discussion. All those in favour? None against. Declare that carried. Thank you. Local Transport Forum. Minutes 12 May 2026. Council notes the minutes of the meeting of the Local Transport Forum held on 12 May 26 and adopts the recommendations contained within. I might move for that. Councillor Douglas, Councillor Marshall, any questions about those minutes? None. I'll put that. All those in favour? None against. Declare that carried. Thank you. State Significant Development Committee, 12 May 26. A recommendation in front of you reads that council notes the minutes of the meeting of the State Significant Development Committee on 12 May 26 and adopts the recommendations contained therein. Have I moved for that State Significant? Councillor Ward, Councillor Douglas, any discussion? No questions? I'll put that. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Thank you. Finance and Governance, 10.4 we're up to. So the recommendation is that council notes the minutes of the meeting of the Finance and Governance Committee held on 12 May 26 and adopts the recommendations contained therein. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Scholes and Councillor Morris. Any discussion? Thank you. All those in favour? None against. Declare those minutes carried unanimously. The extraordinary future fund meeting on 12 May 26. So the recommendation to the business paper is that council notes the minutes of the meeting of the extraordinary future fund committee held on 12 May 26 and adopts the recommendations contained therein. Have I a mover? Councillor Scholes, Councillor Douglas. Any discussion? All those in favour? None against. Declare that carried. Thank you. Councillors' reports starting on my left. Councillor Douglas. Councillor Morris. Pardon, Councillor Nick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to report on gathering of Liddell employees today at the RSL Club, representing the Council Triple C, myself, Councillor Scholes and Councillor Douglas, witnessed what I believe was a very respectful and considered, I guess, bringing down of the chimney stacks of Liddell. And when I say respectful and considered, the whole process that AGL have undertaken with the decommissioning of Liddell by informing employees first, adopting their recommendations on how the process should proceed is commendable. Thank you.
Councillor Neil, Councillor Marshall.
Thank you.
Councillor Margin, Councillor Hall.
No.
Councillor Scholes.
First off, I'd like to, with Councillor Marshall, we attended the sustainability workshop for primary schools over at the indoor sports centre. When was it? No, it was Wednesday week, last Wednesday. Quite impressive. A lot mainly the little schools around the town. The way the council staff ran it was good, and it was engaging and education for the children, and the way they finished off the day was very impressive with regards to including the children in the day. Just note, Martindale School is down to four pupils. A bit scary. I'm not sure what I mentioned before. I attended the regional and rural councils conference in Sydney the other week, which was very edifying, talking about the code of conduct, code of meeting practice. It was quite interesting to see approximately 300 councillors and mayors present who would like to have taken the local government minister to task with regards to is code of meeting practice. I don't think the council in regional rural New South Wales that is happy with the council with the whole package with regards to that. I will actually do I was there for a day. I'll do a small formal report if I may and submit that as a way instead of trying to talk through everything. And the reason I say that is I also attended by teams a 3-day conference, Coffs Harbour. My dining room table was not quite as pretty as the Opal Resort at Coffs Harbour, but I used to take a break to go down to the coffee shops and grab a coffee as well here, which is quite good. Again, a lot of things were discussed, and a lot of things which are particularly interest to us as a council. Was interesting to observe that with regards to FOGO, and all us who have scars from FOGO, we are well and truly in the leading bunch with regards to how that is operated, how that is accepted by our community, and how that is operating. But there are lots of other issues with regards to circular economies, with regards to what is waste and what is not waste. And really, when you look at it, say like what is not really waste. Fabric, it's not really waste, but we're treating a lot of stuff as waste now that possibly doesn't need to be treated as waste. And there was also some issues with regards to, it's interesting to see how it's done in Italy and London. We actually learned how they do that in Italy, northern Italy, because of the concentration of buildings and apartments. It's actually bags. People put stuff in big bags and put them outside. But the one thing I have spoken passing to council officers with regards to moving forward, and I'll, as I said, I'll write a report. It'll only promise it will be no more than A4 size. With regards to our bins and where bins are located in apartments, townhouses, and block flats, with regards to access, and we're not only talking able-bodied access, we're talking just general access, and also getting the bins to the street, because if you have an aged population, how do they drag our bins out to the street to be picked up? How do we manage that going forward? And also with regards to, because we're retrospectively happening like this, when a lot of this started, we had one bin. Some of these places we're talking about now had one bin. Now each unit or each flat has now got 3 bins. So the areas where those bins are stored is an issue with possibly of access, and B, with safety after dark. So I'm questioning whether, as a councillor, we can be ahead of the game with regards to what we require of any of the development consents we have, or modifications to developments where we start catering and looking at those issues. But as I said, I'll write a report which is going to be submitted to council.
I'll just agree. Thank you, councillors who attended the McCulley's Gap function. We had renewable energy function at McCulley's Gap with about 100 local residents and 9 or 10 proponents, including Energy Co. Some emotion, as there always is at those meetings, but certainly it was well attended by the community. Certainly thank the staff and the councillors for their support in that event. I won't go through. We're powering again. Thank you to the councillors who attended powering the future economy. Had to get one go.
You can't say this, but I can say it. I would like to compliment that committee, that community. There was a lot of contrary views in that community, and except for one instance of one questionable person, the way that community handles the different views they have and the different ways of approaching it should be a lesson to all people who are in situations where that, as a group, you have different views.
Thanks.
They handle it very well.
Yeah, they did, and certainly feedback with the proponents as well. The other function was the Powering the Future Economy, the one at the Art Gallery. Recently, the council's also attended again. I appreciate their support there. It appears as though it's far-reaching that campaign at the moment. Sharon and I attended an event in Sydney the other day, and everyone in the room knew about it. Everyone in the room knew where Muswellbrook was. Everyone in the room was asking how they get here and what they do. So certainly, along with all the other work councils are doing, certainly that is having some really good effect at the moment. So we'll continue there. There are no written questions. Questions for next meeting. Start on my left. Councillor Marr, any questions all for next meeting? No?
No.
Thank you. I'll now, someone want to move that we adjourn into closed council, Councillor Marshall, second Councillor McNeil, all those in favour? Thank you, councillors. Moving to closed council. All right, okay, close.
That's all.
Oh,
That's all, mate.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Ash.
that's all. Obviously, no one there. I'll start. Bottom Valley Way, gravity safety improvements. So the recommendation adopted by council was that council one accepts the tender submitted by Gold Springs Group Proprietary Limited for contract 2025-2026 0700 Byron Valley Way gravity safety improvements, section CHOO, channel, yes, section CHOO to CH775, a lump sum of $2,975,012.55, exclusive of GST. And two, delegates to the general manager authority to enter into a contract 2025-2026 0700 for Byron Valley Way gravity safety improvement section CHOO to section CH775, and three, allocates a project budget of $3,629,515.45 for the roads and drainage capital budget 2025-2026 from funding sources identified in the report. I might get the people to write the reports and not put 45 cents in the 65 cents on the end to make it a bit easier. 16.2 is the supply and delivery of 2 8-tonne transport vehicles. So council recommendation adopted by council is that council accepts the tender submitted by Gilbert and Roach under contract 2025-2026 0689 for the supply and delivery of 2 8-tonne transport vehicles for the sum of $294,349.10, exclusive of GST, and 2, delegates authority to the general manager to execute the contract 2025-2026 0689. The 16.3 was the recommendation adopted was that council approves that one, the following tenders be awarded the contract as panel source suppliers to Muscle Shire Council for the period of 1 January 2026 to 31 December 2028 under contract T242526HUN, provision of road stabilising. A, Accurate Asphalt and Road Repairs Proprietary Limited, trading as Accurate Stabilising. B, Durac Civil Proprietary Limited, subject to reaching a mutually agreeable contractual position. C, Firmworks Proprietary Limited, trading as New Paid Asphalt. D, Fulton Hogan Industries Proprietary Limited. E, Highway Australia Proprietary Limited. F, Stablecorp Proprietary Limited. And G, Stabilised Pavements of Australia Proprietary Limited. And 2, that a provision be allowed for a 12-month extension based on satisfactory supplier performance, which may take the contract through to 31 December 2029. Item 16.4 is the supply and delivery of hardware and associated products. Council has resolved that 1, Adaptive Proprietary Limited, trading as Southland Supply Group, Fentarian Proprietary Limited, trading as Sullivan's Mining and Industrial, and J. Blackwood and Son Proprietary Limited be awarded this contract as the panel source suppliers to Muscle Shire Council for the period of 1 January 2026 to 31 December 2027 under contract T272526HUN, supply and delivery of hardware and associated products. And 2, provision be allowed for a 12-month extension based on satisfactory supply performance, which may take this contract through to 31 December 2028. 16.5, network modernisation. Council has resolved to accept the tender submitted by AVE Technologies Proprietary Limited for contract 2025-2026 0694, network modernisation for the lump sum of $357,624.57, exclusive of GST. 2, delegates to the general manager authority to enter into a contract for 2025-2026 069 network modernisation. And 3, council approves the transfer of $157,624.57 from the project's reserve to ledger GL 3910.5908.504 to enable fulfilment of the contract. 16.5, the recommendation adopted by council was that council 1, notes the status of progress for the development of the Glenmunro site, and 2, allocates a budget of $300,000 from the Economic Development Reserve to progress the tender of the design and development consultancy work related to the development approval of Glen Munro site. At 16.7 is up under youth services, the voluntary winding up. So council has resolved to 1, note the information contained in the report, and 2, request continuing advocacy to be carried out with the Department of Communities and Justice for the delivery of youth programs by a locally based service provider. And that was the entire council, and I declare the meeting closed at 6:30 p.m. Thank you, councillors.